We finally get back to work on the base, doing some landscaping today in the front yard, and also pay some amends for, well, I almost caused the crash of the OlympusCraft server. Stay tuned.
On the last episode of OlympusCraft.
There it is. No, it was on me. I did. I got you. Let's go. I'm going to try to problem solve this off camera a little bit, but I think it's going to involve a chunk loader. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video on the OlympusCraft server. I'm just down here in my storage area where I have expanded and cleaned it up quite a bit. For a better view, let's take a step back and you will see I have expanded the storage so that we have like, I don't know, 30 something thousand slots of storage. You may think this is excessive. We're using about 2,000 or 3,000 right now, but if we want to set up some automated farming into this, then that is what we are going to need. For example, if we set up something like an automated villager farm that is farming carrots and potatoes, there are other ways to do it in this pack, but just an example, an iron farm, we are going to be able to feed it into inventory connectors as long as they are connected with inventory trim. And I've got a little elevator block right here, and that will go up and feeds into that system. Now I'm also able to access it using my fancy belt, the advanced wireless terminal. I set it to the little asterisk key, so if we hit the asterisk button, you will see that we can access our entire system from here, which is great. And you're probably wondering how we did that. Well, I set up that beacon. We made a bunch of beacons in the last episode, so set up a beacon here in this chunk. Let's hit F3G. This shows you chunk borders. So again, if we take a step back here, you'll see that this entire chunk, I kind of outlined it in the deep slate, and that is that system set up completely. So even if we're at a place like this in the Nether, we're even going to be able to access it here thanks to a really cool thing called a chunk loader. Now this is a create chunk loader, and that's what we're going to be talking about for the first few minutes, and it involves the create mod using mechanical crafters. All of this stuff was new to me, and thankfully I had a friend that knows this mod a lot better than myself, and he helped walk me through it. So let's go back to my base and I'll show you how we made this chunk loader, where it's at, what it's doing. So if you're playing this pack along at home, or if you're playing the create packs that have something like the create chunk loader in it, then you can use it too. Down here is all of my create madness so far. Now the create mod is really cool, I think. What we can do with it and the capabilities, the ease of getting into it, the scaling, I think it is one of the most perfect mods, it seems like to me, for the base game, and that allows you to do some really cool stuff. But it is very new to me still, so to get started, what you're going to need to do is make water wheels. Now these are large water wheels, but if we just type in water wheels, you'll see that they're not insanely expensive. You're just going to be using a lot of wood, and then a lot of things like this alloy here. Andesite alloy is really easy to get. It's just some iron and some andesite. You get that, you're going to be able to make things like gearboxes, which we're going to use for this, and these water wheels. So we're using a water source up here that is flowing over and down, turning these water wheels. Now we got 3 big ones because they're creating a lot of torque. That torque is spinning these shafts here, which is spinning this large cogwheel in the end. Now we're doing something called cheesing the spin rate here. We're basically making it faster. Every time we go from a large to a small to large to small, it's going to get a little bit faster. So you can see by the time we get over here, we've got some fast cog spinning. Up here, we have a gearbox. This is going to turn this shaft spinning into a, we use a wrench to turn it into a horizontal spinning, and it is spinning a mixer. The first thing you're going to need to make is one of these mechanical presses. So let's take a look at that. The mechanical press is the first thing you're going to really need to make, and it's just an andesite casing, shaft, and a block of iron. To get andesite casing, you just strip a piece of log and right-click it with an andesite alloy. And so this is a very, very easy thing to get, you know, first day type of deal. But if we take some, what's really cool about this thing is so much fun to use. Let's access our storage here. Let's grab an ingot. Like, here's a copper ingot. I think this will work. And if we do this, it is going to smash it and make a copper sheet. So you see, we just got a ton new recipes because I actually hadn't made this one yet. A bunch of new create recipes using that. Now, the next thing you're going to need to make is this mixer, because we're going to need to make brass. And to make brass, you are going to mix copper and zinc. And so we have a basin here, an iron mixer, and then a blaze. So we got to feed the blaze some coal. I heard they like coal, so we're going to feed this guy. You can see he heated up there. And then we just throw some copper and some zinc into here, and it's going to get to mixing. I want to show you this. All right, we got zinc and copper. It is a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, that's going to start mixing, and it is going to turn into brass ingots. You can see right there, ×4 brass ingots. So we'll come back for that. Once you get the brass ingots to make this brass casing, you're going to be able to make the mechanical crafter. This is where things start getting a little bit more expensive. But if we look at the mechanical crafter, it's not too bad. Crafting table, brass casing, you make it the same way as andesite casing, and the electron cube, which is an iron sheet, which is just a pressed iron ingot, and polished rose quartz. And to get rose quartz, it is just nether quartz and redstone. And then to get the polished, you just make sandpaper, and you just right-click it with the sandpaper. It is actually that easy. So you can do this in like 10 or 15 minutes if you know what you're doing. And you're going to be able to make these mechanical crafters. We've all got these things pointing down here. So this is how you make a chunk loader. We're then going to feed an emerald into each of these and a beacon here. Bada bing, bada boom, we get a chunk loader. And I've actually got a few chunk loaders in the system right now. I think I've got 2. Yep, we got 2. So this is what you get. They kind of look like beacons. Let's grab our brass. There you go. You can see we got some brass now. Really, really cool. So the create mod, still new to me, but I wanted to show that off because I just thought it was really cool. In here, this is the golden chunk where we've got all of our storage up there. This is how we're keeping this thing loaded. It's really simple. We have a mechanical bearing and we have a stationary contraption. Now let's right click this real quick. And this is just a radial chassis with a chunk loader on the end. We had to make super glue to stick these together. And if we right click it, this is going to spin, and it's going to alert the server that, hey, I'm a mechanical thing spinning. I need to be loaded at all times. I can't stop mid-spin. So because of that, it will keep this entire chunk we're standing in right now loaded, which means we're going to be able to set up some farms in these areas and connect it to our storage area here. So a lot of work been done off camera, but I wanted to walk you through it in case you're having trouble with these chunk loaders at home, because I was definitely having trouble with the create chunk loaders myself, but very glad that I got that thing working. And we've upgraded our storage. We've got like 30,000 slots. We've got the wireless sorter, and we got it's basically a fancy remote. We've got our fancy remote that we can access stuff anywhere, which is really fun. Today, though, I want to do some aesthetical building with this front yard. We've been neglecting it. We've got some farms here that have been here since day one. We've got some animals that need pens, and all of this area is going to need to be landscaped quite a bit. And I think the best way to do that is with the time lapse. So I'm going to walk you through and talk you through some of the steps that I take to terraform areas like this into lively areas. We're keeping with the kind of a Midwest prairie theme, and I'm super excited. So let's get to work. I started out by flattening and prepping the area a little bit, like you saw there in that last clip, and then I started putting in a gravel driveway. I was using gravel, cobblestone, stone, and andesite, and then on the edges I was using rocky gravel or rocky dirt. This is something that is unique to the pack that we're using, and then some coarse dirt, but you can always add some other transitionary blocks if you're playing in vanilla and don't have that in your palette. With this, I was able to create this round circular driveway and extend it out to the water, where we're going to be extending the dirt line eventually. I also started creating a fence using some spruce, different types of spruce blocks. We have like the spruce trapdoors, the slabs, and the fences. So with this, I was able to create a kind of fence going around, and we're going to move our animals in here in just a moment. And then under the fence post, I was putting podzol and then adding some stripes of moss as if the grass had been cut. I was doing it kind of sloppily, so that maybe kind of gives the idea of it's being maintained, but it's not being maintained super well. And once we finished this fence, I was able to add the cows and the sheep into that pen. I added a red oak tree in the middle of the circular driveway, added some twigs and leaf piles on the ground, and then inside the pen we put down some podzol and a water trough and a food trough, and went around the outside again, adding a bunch of the prairie grass back into it, the tall grass, and a bunch of coarse dirt and podzol to make it look like this is a place where animals have lived. Also, I'm experimenting around with some different tree types right now. We've got fir trees, the tall fir trees in here, which I don't think look too bad. And I think once we add a variety of trees into this area, it can really pop. So let's get back to the server. So the thing that I didn't want to happen, happened, and that is the chunk loader broke everything. Yes, the chunk loader actually caused a server crash, and we had to reload the world, which means that we lost some progress. So let's go back and take a look at everything I lost. Look, if you're playing in your own world, on your own server, you're playing this pack, let me recommend to you that you do, oh goodness, yeah, we lost a little bit of progress here. Let me recommend that you set up these things in spawn chunks so that it's always loaded by the server, is a vanilla mechanic, or you find a chunk loader that's going to work, or you shut this thing off every time you log on and log off, and you know when the server is going to restart. That is what we're going to do right now. You saw my chess monster that I showcased off in the first part of the episode, right? Yeah, we are going to migrate this thing, at least a portion of it, to spawn chunk now, while the chunk loader is still active and still working. That's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go cut down some trees, and I'll show you. We're going to move this thing into a spawn chunk area near our shop in the spawn town. So I'll be back. Well, I've caused a few members on the server a little bit of heartache, but you saw from that time lapse that we now have a little golden bone chunk here with all of our storage in it, and it is working. It is accessible in all the dimensions. It is perfect. I could finish up this roof here at some point, but for now, this is all really that I need. All the storage that I need are in the Skystone chest. So we got this chunk here. If we go over here, we'll see Fuzzy Cub is actually working on a shop where he is selling his own custom Tom's Simple storage. So sorry, I did not buy your storage, Fuzzy, but you got a really cool looking system here, and he's got a cool looking shop up here with the extended road. He's actually working on it now. He lost a little bit of progress yesterday from my chunk loader shenanigans. Look, it's not my fault. It's not my fault the chunk broke, okay? It's not my fault the mods don't do what they say they do, okay? It's not my fault. I definitely feel bad, though, so we're going to fly over to the two players that lost items yesterday, or lost progress, and one of those is Fuzzy Cub himself, the Tom Simple Storage salesman. We're going to head over to his island and give him a little treat as a pardoning gift for hopefully... Oh, both of the members are here. Excellent. All right.
Hi. Just giving some torches out.
Okay, I'm here to make some to give gifts for me causing the server to roll back 6 hours. So
See, I told you it was beacons.
You.
I do. It was well. It was okay. It was the mod, right? It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I didn't want this to happen. Okay, so don't frame me like that. But it did happen. And
you
it was
yourself.
It was the chunk loader, and no, that is just a free gift for playing on the server. Thanks.
Totally not bribery.
No, totally not.
No, we wouldn't do that.
No. Well, there we go. We made some amends for our chunk loader breaking. While we're here in town, let me show you this cool new shop that Rob set up. Can you guess what it is? It is. I mean, some of you may not even know. This is an iron. We use it to iron clothes. I say we, as in humans, adults. Unfortunately, I have to use this thing every once in a while whenever I've got a meeting to go to. And my shirts have been in the dryer a little too long. But this thing is really fun. It's a diamond for a stack of iron. Oh my gosh. That is so much fun. We can run around and pick up the iron. I'm not going to lie. I used this thing a few times off camera just because it is fun to use. Really cool. He's got the little sizzle, kind of like a burnout sound. really simple redstone too. I think it's just kind of item sorter and then some redstone towers kind of going up to the dispensers, but really fun. Over here we have Styrkat shop. I showed that off in the a few episodes ago, I think. I was gonna say the last, but I think it was a few episodes ago. And this is a new shop too, which is codes Gold and Golden Saloon. We're gonna take a look at that and Fuzzy shop in a future episode. I'm gonna let them put a little bit more time because I know they're still working on some cool stuff here. But the town is coming together so quickly. Fuzzy Cub is extending the road here. He's doing a great job. That looks fantastic. So I can't wait to see what this area transforms into as we progress and as we build some cool stuff. And soon we're going to be building a more permanent shop over here for our beacons. And I've got a few other ideas for some fun stuff we can work on too. But for now, let's head back to the base. Well, now this chunk is sad and it no longer needs to be loaded, which means we can technically move or change the beacon. And you can see here we removed the create stuff that we did last time. I did add a furnace here, which we'll talk a little bit about in another episode, but we are going to call it a day for today's episode. Of course, you see everything got rolled back, which means I got a little bit of work to do in before the next episode. So if you're wondering if the thumbnail is a little different or if the in the next episode this area is looking a little different, that is why. But no need to show you me doing it twice. So we are going to call it here for today. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.